Hey, know thyself here. And today I want to talk about a quote that I just read. It's called, It's better to be alone than to wish you were alone. And I read that quote a few months back, wrote it down in one of my notepads, and I just wanted to revisit that today and talk about the importance of the process of how you decide the person that you want to be with. I think it's very important that you take the time to decide what your values are, what your morals and principles and standards are, so that you know what your criteria is that you would base how you would choose the person that you want to be with. See, so many men operate with a scarcity mentality that they're willing to take the first woman that shows them any attention or the next woman, right? So they may be in a relationship with someone and then that relationship ends. And then they're single for a while. And most of the time, if you haven't done any internal work, then the first person that comes along that shows you any bit of attention, you take that person and you go be in a relationship with that person. You accept that person into your life. Now, anybody who's been in a relationship they've hated can tell you that, yes, it is better to be alone than to wish you were alone. There is nothing, almost nothing worse. It's up there on the list of things that are worse than being with somebody and not having the courage to break up with that person for whatever reason. And a lot of people stay in relationships that they know they're not supposed to be in. So let's not act as if you get out of every single relationship that you're in. Get out of it as soon as you see some red flags. Most people have to see a lot of really terrible things from the person that they're with before they finally end the relationship. But the idea that it's better to be alone than to wish you were alone, it implies that you have to take the time to figure out who this person is that you're going to be with. And it's incredible because it's interesting because most men don't do that. 95% of men don't do that. We literally will take the next thing coming. And when you see how some of these men are treated, in a marriage, when a marriage dissolves into a divorce, and how, the courts get involved, the judges get involved, kids are involved, assets are involved, then you see the devastation. But just on a relationship level, you can see the devastation. It's interesting that most men don't, this is not even something that is taught in society. Most men have no awareness that you do have an option. I know. You might think, well, this is the only woman right now that's actually showing me any attention, so I'm just gonna go. No, you have options. You can decide to not be with that person if they're not meeting your criteria. But the first thing you have to do is you have to have some standards. You have to have some criteria. That's why developing yourself personally and your personal growth journey is so important. It's important because you then have a checklist, a mental checklist that says, if I'm not holding myself to a standard, how can I hold this person to a standard? And I can recognize the red flags in that person before I commit to that person. And now we've interwoven our lives, and we're sharing friends, we're sharing a place to live, we're you know sharing our finances, and then you realize, holy crap, I don't actually like this person. They kind of like me, and I kind of like them, but I would much rather not be with them. But then you feel trapped at that point, where if you really think about how it is that you are going to come up with the list, and you come up with a good list, and you have an understanding of who you are as a person, and what you like and what you don't like, what you will tolerate and what you will not tolerate out of yourself first. What are your goals, dreams, and ambitions? What are your standards, morals, and principles? And once you have those things dialed in, and then it becomes a lot easier for you to notice if those things are in the other person, or if there's things in that other person that you can work with. What I've noticed a lot of is, especially in my own life, and it wasn't even until very recently, I want to say like the last 3 or 4 years, that I've developed myself to the point to where I actually have this mental checklist. And I'm telling you, if you have this as a man, if you can get to the point to where you develop yourself in this way, then what'll happen is that there'll be women that you won't even give the time of day to. There'll be women that you won't even go out on a second date with. And you'll say, I don't care how attractive she is. That's another thing that men get hung up on, is how attractive she is. We will allow some women to get away with things that we shouldn't and would not allow anybody else to get away with if they weren't so damn attractive. And so recognize that is something that is an issue for you. That you might be one of those guys that lets a woman get away with things because she's very attractive. Not to beat yourself up about it, but just to recognize that that's your pattern. Again, that's why the name of this channel is called Know Thyself. It is the lifelong journey. It is the thing that you must spend every single day doing, is interrogating, learning more about yourself. You say, you know what? If a girl has a pretty face and a cute smile and a nice body, I'm prone to let her get away with anything. And if you recognize that about yourself, when that opportunity or when that situation presents itself, you can take a step back and say, hold on, am I doing that right now? Am I excluding bad behavior? Am I allowing bad behavior? Is this something that I'm okay with? And you say, no, I'm not okay with that. And then you can act accordingly. But you have to know yourself first. You have to do the internal work. Even if it's something as simple as pulling out a sheet of paper and saying, what will I not allow in the other person that I'm dating? And then say, are these things that I allow in myself? And if they are, that's your work. Those are the things about yourself that you need to address and that you need to find some help with. And you possibly need to go get some therapy. And you possibly need to do some journaling and some meditating on those things. So, very interesting. Better to be alone than to wish you were alone. We all know how that misery feels. Not all of us, but if you've been in a relationship in which you say, you know what, man, you think the grass is greener on the other side. You think that some other woman that you may have seen or maybe friends with or maybe acquaintances, you might think, I wonder if it would be better if I was with her. And you don't know. Grass is usually not always greener on the other side. A lot of times, that other person has their own set of problems. That other person comes with their own baggage. You have to know these things. This is the task of the age for men nowadays. Interrogate yourself. Learn about yourself. Read books on self-discovery. Watch documentaries about self-discovery. Journal. Go buy a book that gives you journaling prompts. Get some therapy. Talk to somebody about your issues. These are the most important things that you can do. You don't want the person that you're with to be someone that you don't really know. You go on and on years with this person, and then you turn around and you realize, I don't really like this person and I'm not happy. And I'd rather be alone than to be in this relationship. It's a cold game. It's a cold world out there. And you have to navigate it properly. And my opinion on this is that you should know who you are first. And you should have that system and that structure and that order about what you will and will not allow in yourself. And once you have your morals locked in, your principles locked in, once you have all those things taken care of, surveying or vetting a woman for a relationship becomes so much easier, because you can next these girls so much faster when you have that stuff and those things taken care of in your own mind. And so with that being said, I just wanted to thank you guys for rocking with me as always. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you have a comment, please leave it down in the comment section. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care of yourself.